Reserve time.
All right, welcome everyone. It's been forever, at least it feels like it's been forever since I cast. But we're finally live. We're finally going to get back to it. Our last cast was the Canada Cup Grand Finals. That's way back. And of course we had the Shanghai Major, which of course I didn't cast, but man, what a disaster that was. But without talking too much about it, I do want to say one thing. I actually think, as much of a disaster as the whole Shanghai event was, I do think it actually was probably good for Dota. I think there was a lot of people that tuned in and saw what a mess it was, and that certainly wasn't good for Dota. But I think the fact that we can host a $3 million tournament and it go that bad is just good for the long run. It's good for everything that's going to be coming down the road, because pretty much everything imaginable and maybe even more so went wrong. And those are all learning points that every single event after the Shanghai Major is going to make sure that they get right, and that'll be ironed out. So that should just mean that every single event going forward is just going to be that much better. And we had some great casts, actually. Pretty much every single caster did an incredible job, and of course the analyst desk was pretty on point for a lot of things. So overall, I mean, I thought the casting and all that was fantastic, and then the games pretty much brought everyone back. Despite all the issues, the games still made it interesting, and the further and further we got, the better it got. So
5 seconds.
Yeah, I guess that's all I'm going to say about the Shanghai Major. I guess I should introduce myself if anyone's new here. I am Niz. Welcome to NizCast. I've been casting for quite a while, but I've taken over a month break, I guess. I took a little bit of a break from Dota, and the Shanghai Major kind of reinvigorated that, and I got back into it, and changed a bunch of things on my setup in terms of the audio side of things. So if anything needs some tweaking, let me know. But yeah, let's jump into it. We're casting the Semi-Pro Cup Series, and unfortunately, the tournaments haven't really been as big as they used to be. Recently, we only had 22 teams here tonight, and we're just casting the Grand Finals because I was getting in a little bit late to start. But yeah, if you got a team, make sure you get them to head on over to Semi-Pro Cup, or semiprodota.com, excuse me, and sign up so you can compete next week. Next week, I believe, is still another $0 prize pool, but it's the week following will be the $100. It's the last Sunday of every month. There's a $100 prize pool, so definitely get in, and it's best of ones the entire way, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, we're in the Grand Finals here. We've got Lonely Boyz are going by in the brackets, but we saw them in the Shanghai Major qualifiers that we cast. That was the team that Bacon is Beast was playing on, where he had those outstanding performances on the Outroll Devourer, which we do see getting banned in the first ban phase here by their opposition, which is going to be White Power Nation, who we watched a little bit of in the kind of picture-in-picture in the bottom of the screen there while we were waiting for the game to finish. They played up against another team which they picked Meepo, and frankly, they kind of dominated White Power Nation for the early phase of the game. By about 25 minutes, they had over a 10k gold lead, and somehow, some way, White Power Nation found a way to claw themselves back into the game. Captain had a pretty good performance on the Spectre, but it wasn't just him. There was some really good swaps and really good movement around the map. They took over Roche at a pretty crucial point in the game, and just kind of outmaneuvered their opposition and allowed them to do so. So they got here, they ended up in the Grand Finals. They're going to be going up against a pretty stiff competition. We don't have Bacon playing for them tonight, but we've got Huron Mark, Pumpkin Dota, Adrian, he's going to be standing in. We've got PoE player, and Borko going to be playing for Lonely Boyz. So pretty stiff competition for them, but we'll see if White Power Nation's going to have what it takes to go up against them. But let's get into talking about the draft, as we've got the Lone Druid, or the Syllabear, and the Zeus getting banned out by Lonely Boyz. The first bans for White Power Nation were the Ebola Spirit, or Earth Spirit, and Outroll Devourer. First pick was an Invoker, followed up by an Enchantress. Vengeful Spirit and Chen were the picks for White Power Nation. On to the second banning phase, we have the Ursa and the Nature's Prophet, both heroes that were played last game against White Power Nation, but they're going to get banned out this time by Lonely Boyz. White Power Nation banning out the Bat Rider and that Spectre that I said that Captain
10
played.
seconds
They're going to
remaining.
ban it out. So they're not going to have access to that. And then coming out of that, into the third
5
pick was the
seconds
Sven.
remaining.
So far we've got a strong jungler from White Power Nation. We don't really see
Reserve time.
Vengeful Spirit played so much in that kind of core role that we used to see maybe at the start of the patch. But yeah, so we expect that to probably be a support. So that should be the support duo for White Power Nation. Sven, we expect him to be the safe lane carry, although we have seen him played in the mid, but given the Invoker and the Enchantress pickup so far by Lonely Boys, I don't expect to see Sven in the mid lane. So expect him to be safe lane. There is, I guess, the potential of going aggressive, but probably not, given that Lonely Boys has the Enchantress. Not sure exactly how they're going to play that. There are a couple options. They could just put it into their jungle, or they can put it off lane. And now that they pick up a Bounty Hunter, that pretty much, I guess, solidifies the chance that the Enchantress is probably going to be in the off lane. We're going to have the Bounty Hunter kind of accompanying the Enchantress in the off lane, but also jumping into the jungle and harassing that Chen and making it difficult for that Chen to really make good use of the jungle. Invoker, we expect to be in the mid lane, but there's always the possibility of them sliding him into the safe lane. But as it stands so far, we expect that to be mid lane. Tidehunter now the pick for White Power Nation. Expect that to be the off laner, and they just need a mid hero to go up against most likely Invoker, and that'll round out their roster. As for Lonely Boys, they're probably they'll probably pick up their last support here, but could very well be that they just decide to go after their
10
safe lane,
seconds remaining.
depending on what they feel could get removed. And yeah, there we go. It is going to be the support for them. So it is going to be
Radiant team
Rubik.
back.
Once again, they're a little light on CC or disable, so they're going to pick up the Rubik to help them control the fights a little bit better, but also still provides them a good amount of damage, and it's also a very strong pick against the Tidehunter. As we get
10
later and later
seconds
into the game,
remaining.
once Rubik gets an mobility enhancing item, most likely a
5
Blink Dagger,
seconds
that'll
remaining.
allow him to actually step back in the fight, have his team kind of frontline, and then that Tidehunter jumps in, Ravage, and Rubik should be
Dire
able to
team
blink
back.
over or blink in after the Ravage passes, and be able to steal the Ravage from Tidehunter before he's able to use his Anchor Smash to cover it. And look for that play coming out from the Rubik for Lonely Boys. So I mentioned that Lonely
10
Boys do need their
seconds
safe lane
remaining.
carry still, and that is going to get covered by White Power Nations. They're going to
5
ban out the
seconds
Gyrocopter.
remaining.
Once again, one of those strong kind of mid-game carries that pairs up well with the Invoker. The last ban for Lonely Boys is going to be the
Radiant
Death
team
Prophet.
pick.
So they don't want to be going up against that in the mid lane, which I think would kind of mesh well with White Power Nation's
Dire team
lineup.
pick.
Gives them a lot of push potential, and it would make them spike really, really hard in the mid game. When they have Sven, a hero that can a safe lane carry that comes on pretty early. Chen, of course, very, very early, very push oriented. Tidehunter as well, pretty early oriented, although he does scale quite well for a hero with a big kind of ultimate. But they're going to add on the Queen of Pain as their final hero, so that's going to be going up in
10
the mid lane.
seconds remaining.
And we expect Tidehunter off lane, Chen, Sven, and Vengeful
5
Spirit in the
seconds
safe lane.
remaining.
Lonely Boys, we already know most likely it's going to be the Enchantress and Bounty Hunter in the off lane, Invoker
10
mid lane, and
seconds
Rubik
remaining.
and the safe lane carry, which we'll find out in less than 5 seconds who it's going to
5
be.
seconds remaining.
And it is Clinks. All right, so they're going to go with the Clinks, and that. Now, Clinks has to be a little bit careful here, because if he gets caught by the CC, he is squishy, and he will go down very, very quickly to the heroes from White Power Nation. But he does have the added benefit of being able to jump on the Vengeful Spirit, the Chen, or maybe even the Queen of Pain, and just blow them up very, very quickly. Add in something like the Bounty Hunter or the Invoker, and you suddenly have a ton of damage, and one of those heroes is going to go down very, very quickly. And it even has the added benefit of even being able to harass the Sven and catch him out and just kind of make it very, very difficult for the Sven to be kind of off, kind of farming while his team's kind of doing the 4 protect to 1 4-man grouping up strategy. But without further ado, we are into this game. We've got a Sunstrike coming out, seeing where these heroes from
Prepare for battle.
8 equals D or White Power Nation, where they're going to be moving out, but none of them actually moved out while that Sunstrike still had vision. But let's introduce the teams and the players before we get too much into talking about this. on our Radiant side. We are going... Oops. It's been a while. It's been a while since I did this, but we're hitting wrong buttons, but we'll be all right. We've got Captain playing the Sven for White Power Nation. We've got Sabby going to be playing the Queen of Pain, most likely in the mid lane. We've got Phonix playing the Tidehunter. Bobo the Sad Clown is going to be playing the Vengeful Spirit. That'll be a fun name to say. And Odno B is going to be playing the Chen. We do have some action already as a couple heroes from Lonely Boyz have made their way into the Radiant jungle here. And they have been briefly spotted out by a couple heroes here, but we'll try and introduce them. We've got Huron Mark playing the Bounty Hunter for Lonely Boyz. And the other hero that was down here was Pumpkin Dota. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. He's a old friend of mine, and he's definitely quite a good player, but follow him on Twitter. Check him out. He's going to be playing the Enchantress. We've got Steel Borko. He's going to be playing the Invoker. PoE player is going to be on that Clinks. And Adrian is going to be playing the Rubik. Speaking of PoE, I've been playing a bunch of PoE recently with the new league, and it's been a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I died recently in hardcore, but we'll be bouncing back in that soon. But without further ado, let's get into talking about this game, as the horn has sounded, and that means we're soon going to have the creeps clash and the heroes clash, and everything's going to get started. As the Bounty Hunter kind of sniffing around looking for that courier, but it's going to wait on the high ground here. And now they have seen the Bounty Hunter, so they should know that they can safely bring their courier out. Normally we will see the courier kind of pass the items to one of the supports hanging out in the mid lane, but they didn't really feel that it was necessary here. But maybe they should have, as Huron Mark could potentially snipe that courier on its way back, but they know exactly what's up, and they're kind of baiting it right now. But yeah, Huron Mark actually just got a little bit too close to the tower there, so they have spotted him. And there is a sentry up here onto the Chen, so they are going to drop it. They're going to find him, and they're going to stun him up immediately with the magic missile from the Vengeful Spirit, who is going to try to get in front of him, but the invis still lasting quite a bit, so we'll be able to kind of juke around here, and he will pop the Clarity, so he just barely has enough mana to bring the next Shadow Walk up. He actually, when he came out of it, he didn't have enough mana to use it, so he had to use that Clarity, and Huron Mark just barely surviving there. Let's take a quick look at our lanes. They look like they are as we expected, but it's the Clinks and the Rubik in the top lane going up against the Tidehunter. Mid lane is going to be that Queen of Pain versus Invoker matchup. And the bottom lane, Sven and Vengeful Spirit down here farming, going up against the Enchantress. And like we said, the Chen's going to be in the jungle, but constantly getting harassed by that Bounty Hunter. So he might not be able to steal all the creeps from the Chen, but he will be able to steal a bunch of the XP as well. So just going to make it very, very difficult for that Chen to have a great start to this game. Look at this. Pumpkin is going to start rotating down here, and they are going to look to open up on this Chen, but here comes the Vengeful Spirit as well, as the Sao clan is going to come in, stun up that Enchantress, as the Chen drops down to 127 HP, 71 now, another attacks, 21, one more, and it will be our first blood, as Huron Mark going to get the last hit there on the Bounty Hunter, and that is pretty much the dream start for a Bounty Hunter, being able to get that first blood, as that allows him to get a good start in terms of gold, and pick up his boots early on. And then it's just a matter of trying to snake around and get that level 6 as fast as you can. And Sabby and Borko kind of manning up on each other there in the mid lane. Both dropping down to about half HP, forces out the salve on Sabby. I want to note that there isn't a sentry ward placed in the mid lane just yet from the Radiant side, so that will allow Huron Mark to try to open up on this Queen of Pain and just do a little bit of harass damage. So Sabby does have to be a little bit wary of that. Sabby actually going all the way back and meeting up with the courier there, not taking any risks sending that courier out. But we'll drop the bottle there. They do have vision from the sentry ward to know that Huron Mark isn't that close by. And it has been the 3-minute mark, so they have upgraded that courier. So far, in terms of last hittings, there is a slight advantage here for the Dire side. Mid lane's relatively even, 18-3 CS for the Invoker, whereas it's 14-1 for the Queen of Pain. So a slight advantage for the Invoker, but not the end of the world. Look at the two safe lane farmers. We've got Captain sitting at 16-4. And PoE player is sitting at 14 or 15 now and 4. So pretty even for the safe lane farmers. But the big discrepancy is going to be the Tidehunter, only sitting at 1-1, but we also have to kind of match him up with the Chen, who's sitting at 9-0. But we compare that with the offlaner from Lonely Boys, who Pumpkin's sitting at 15-3. So it's all pretty close in terms of CS. Slight advantage for Lonely Boys, but overall pretty close. As 4-minute runes have spawned, and the top bounty rune gets picked up by that Chen. The bottom rune still has yet to be claimed, but it is going to be up for the taking. If anyone chooses to rotate down, there doesn't look like anyone's making the move just yet. Sad Clown's trying to come up here and help out Odd Nose. He's getting harassed by Huron Mark. As Phonics going to get lifted and tossed back by Adrian, but maybe Adrian's gone a little bit too far. Indeed, he has. As those two supports rotating up from this Radiant side will find the kill there. And that's the first one on the board for them as they even it up at 1 kill apiece.
Methinks you wanted that.
Still haven't really seen too many kills yet. It's been, I want to say, a little bit quiet in terms of actual hero kills, but certainly have seen a decent amount of action, or at least attempts at action, as Huron Mark has been very mobile, moving around. Now he's going to try to go on Phonics in the top lane. His PoE player will be throwing in those right clicks as well, and Borko tosses in the Sunstrike, and it is a kill for Lonely Boys as they once again find themselves ahead by a kill. Courier flies in, delivers the bottle to Sabby. And he's got his boots and a TP, and he's going to pop that Arcane Rune and immediately jump on to steal Borko. But he will be able to drop into the QQ walk, the Ghost Walk, and avoid any further damage coming out from any of the heroes on this Radiant side. But as soon as he comes out of it, Sabby just blinks on forward, and this is going to be very close, and I think Sabby's going to lose. Indeed, he does.
Whatever that was, 'twas scarcely worth my notice.
Invoker even mocking it there after that kill, that little dive attempt from the Queen of Pain, not really panning out for him there. But Invoker with a little bit of a mocking there, but we will have Lonely Boys getting another kill on the board, and they might find another as Oddnose is going to get lifted and tossed back, but now it's Adrian in trouble once again. Phonics and the Sad Clown will find the kill there. As Huron Mark, once again, will have to run away. As in the bottom lane, Pumpkin will find a kill on the Captain. Not sure how that happened, but somehow the Enchantress finding a solo kill on the Sven, and it doesn't look like Pumpkin was really close at all to dying there. And Sven didn't even pop the ultimate there. Probably didn't have enough mana. But unfortunately, just missing that kill there. But once again, another kill for Lonely Boys as they are now up ahead 4-2. Just 6 minutes into this game, though. So there is still plenty of time for this Radiant side, 8 = D, to come back in this game. As we saw, well, we didn't really see. We kind of peeked in on the semifinal. We saw them come back from a pretty devastating deficit, but they did find their way back into the game and did end up taking it and making their way into the grand finals. So I'd say definitely do not count them out of this game until the throne falls. We got another 3 heroes for Lonely Boys up in the top lane, and they're going to maybe go on Phonics, but they have spotted the Sad Clown. So maybe the Vengeful Spirit's going to be the target, and indeed it will. Stun's going to come out onto Huron Mark, but the Vengeful Spirit is already down. But Phonics walks in, Anchor Smash, gets the kill there. Now he's going to be forced to pop the Ravage, which will allow him to get back to the safety of his Tier 1 tower, but that is now a Ravage on cooldown. So he won't have that available for another couple minutes. Now he's going to pick up his Arcane Boots as well, so he'll be able to get his mana pool back up and continue harassing. But we have, since we last checked in terms of last hits, it has gone a little bit more in favor of Lonely Boys, as they're now at the top 3. And as I say that, their Queen of Pain jumps up there, but they were the top 3 in terms of CS, all with all their lanes sitting around 38 to 40 CS, whereas 8 = D, they've fallen a little bit behind. They've got 2 heroes at 38, and then 19 and 11 for the Tide and the Chen. But action here coming up from 8 = D as they're going to try to open up on this Invoker, and this time they will find it with the Sonic Wave and a few auto attacks from Sabby. But it does cost them the Chen in the process, but that is definitely a worthwhile trade for them, as they did use a lot of heroes to get that kill, but it was a very important kill to drop that Invoker and kind of slow his ability to snowball and kind of take over this game. But he's certainly not the only hero that 8 = D are going to have to worry about. This Clinks is another one of those heroes where if he's given a good start, he can quickly get out of hand. So Phonix is up to 350 gold. I do want to keep tabs on both his gold count and his items and figuring out what he's going to be going for. We've got action in the Radiant Jungle's captain. He's been slowed down. He's going to desperately try to run for his life. He will get out of range of Huron Mark and Pumpkin Dota, but not out of range of that global range Sunstrike coming out from Steel Borko, and is going to snipe that Sven as that Sven goes down once again. And 8 equals D, they've been moving around a lot to try and keep up with Huron Mark's movements and rotations from this bounty hunter, but it has left their Sven vulnerable a few times, and it's cost them twice already. Now Phonix is going to get opened up on as he's going to drop low from the neutrals, Sunstrike, and that ridiculous amount of damage coming up from the Clinks finishes him off very, very quickly. As 8 equals East try to goes on the Invoker, but now they've gone maybe a little bit too far as Huron Mark has TP'd on in. But they're not going to be able to pick off the Chen, and I don't think they've got enough damage to bring down the Queen of Pain. But Queen of Pain is actually going to jump forward. Savvy is going to get a solo kill there on the Invoker and should be actually able to get away safely. Huron Mark does not have enough solo damage to be able to bring down a Queen of Pain this early in the game. But he is getting close to level 6. He's level 5.5 right now, so Track will be coming on board soon. Let's quickly switch over to net worth and see how the last hits, but also the kills have panned out in terms of gold for each hero, and it is the top 3 on the side of Lonely Boys, and they're going to look to add to that as they found Oddno in the jungle here, but now it's Pumpkin in trouble as the Sad Clown is rotated in. Now Sabby's coming in as well. TP coming in from Phonix as well as Pumpkin. Oh, hides in the trees, TP's away. Great play there from Pumpkin, escaping what was surely going to be his death. But Huron Mark has hit level 6. Captain has begun to farm in the mid lane against these two heroes without really much support behind him. He's got a bunch of allied heroes in the bottom lane, the 4 of them still down there, and looks like they may actually push this bottom tier 1. Mango getting popped there.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The captain does have to be a little bit careful in the mid lane here as Steel Borko's going to jump on him. Cold Snap. Sunstrike's actually going to be off the mark, but they have dropped him down quite low. Trap coming in as well, but just 200 HP left alive. Speaking of that push in the bottom lane, it has been successful. They have brought down a tier 1.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It looks like they're going to keep going for the tier 2. Lonely Boy's looking for a trade. They're going to go for the mid tier 1.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Glyph's going to come out from 8 equals D to prevent that, or slow down that push at least, but it looks like it will just be a trade. A tier 1 for a tier 2. Unless we see a bunch of TPs coming in from Lonely Boys, but I really don't see that happening. So 8 equals D, they group up early to get 2 towers. Get a bunch of gold for them early on in this game. But now they're going to back, and they're going to back through their own jungle, and they're going to run right into a couple heroes from Lonely Boys, so they have to be careful here. If they split up, they could easily lose a hero here. As Huron Mark has spotted Sabby, and the pings are coming out. They're going to try to open up on this Queen of Pain. Blink on cooldown for another 2 seconds. It's up now. We'll be able to blink away as he drops down to 20 HP, and it's just going to be enough. Sunstrike is going to be on the mark. A snipe again from Steel Borko as they find another kill, and a very valuable one on that Queen of Pain as Phonix getting stunned up here by the Cold Snap. Will be able to get the Ravage off, but it is just going to hit 2. Huron Mark able to back away and not get stunned up by it, and he will be able to finish off the kill onto that Tidehunter. As Oddno and the Sad Clown going to try to back away here, but the Chen going to get stunned up. And I don't know if he's going to be able to get away. Sunstrike, there it comes. And of course it's on the mark once again. Pee-wee player this time getting the last hit with the auto attack there from the Clinks. But these Sunstrikes have just been so well placed from Steel Borko. And has really helped secure Lonely Boys a lot of kills in this game. And I guess it's no surprise that he's number 1 in our net worth, sitting at 6.5k. Number 2 is going to be PoE player at 6.3. Then it's going to be Pumpkin at 5.2. Then we've got our first one from 8 equals D. It's going to be the Queen of Pain, Sabby, who's sitting at 4.6. Captain at 4.3k. And then our 6th hero in the game actually is going to be the Bounty Hunter, as Huron Mark has managed to get 3.4k gold already in this game. Track gold is is quite ridiculous when you get a bunch of kills.
Roshan
They're going to add a
has
Roshan to
fallen
that
the
as Steel Borko's going to pick up the
Dire's
Aegis.
top tower is under attack.
So second light for the Invoker.
Dire's
While that was
top
going on,
tower
8 equals D
has
did
fallen.
go for a trade and did pick up a tier 1 tower as they realized they weren't really going to be able to go down and contest that Roshan, so might as well get a tower while you can. It looks like they're going
Dire's
to look
middle
to
tower
put a little
is
bit of
under
pressure on
attack.
this mid-tier 1. As Phonix is now up to 1,700 gold, so getting closer to the Blink Dagger if that's what he chooses to go for.
Radiant's bottom
You already
tower
have
is under attack.
a mech yet picked up
Radiant
by the
structures
Chen, so
are
that's one of the other options that we typically see a
Dire's
Tidehunter go
structures
for.
are fortified.
But of course, with the Chen picking up, he doesn't really have a reason to get it.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Bottom tier 1 has gone down. They're going to TP back to try and defend here, as the tier 1 has already gone down in the mid lane. But nice, Deafening Blast will push back a bunch of them, but it's going to be the death for the Invoker, as Aegis will allow him to get back in the game, but unfortunately we do have a disconnect from the Rubik. So just going to have to wait a second for Adrian to reconnect here, as oops, here on Mark says. But hopefully he'll be able to join back in the game, and we'll see the results of this team fight. But we do still have that Ravage on cooldown for another 27 seconds. So in terms of 8 equal D's ability to team fight here, it's really not that strong. They don't really have Sonic Wave. They don't have God's Strength for another 20 seconds. So they don't really have much. They don't even have Swap because the Vengeful Spirit isn't 6 yet. They also don't have Hand of God, still level 5.5 for the Chen. So they really don't have much team fight here at all. Whereas Lonely Boys, they don't really have much in terms of big team fight ultimates, but they do have a lot of damage that they could potentially throw out. And with the Invoker coming back up in 3 seconds, I believe his Sunstrike is off cooldown, so we'll be able to throw that in and assist his team as well. So 8 equals D are going to have to back away here and hope that they don't get picked off, but Pumpkin Dota is going to be in range to get a slow off and enchant off on one of these heroes. And PoE players already in prime position to get some good damage in. So here we go. We're going to resume. And who's the slow going to be on? It's going to be on Phonix. As they are kind of splitting their damage here. And they're actually not going to find a kill. Just one on the Chen minions. Well, they might find one as the Vengeful Spirit going to turn around, get a stun off. But the Sad Clown is going to be the one to go down. Just so much damage coming out between the Enchantress and the Clinks with that Desolator. It's a lot of damage early on in this game. You add in the Searing Arrows and then increase attack speed from Strafe. And that Clinks is dishing out a lot of damage. The question is, when you get those kills, are you going to be able to get anything on the back of it? Doesn't look like they're going to go for a tower push. They're just going to back away and get a little bit of farm. As I think they realized that a lot of those big cooldowns that we just addressed that were on cooldown have come back off cooldown. So they are going to be ready to fight here. But Lonely Boys are going to stick around here. As Savage is going to get tossed up in the air from the Yules from the Invoker. But the Meatball and the Deafening Blast just barely going to be off the mark. So the Queen of Pain will be able to blink away. And Lonely Boys, oh, no, they're not going to back away. They're still going to stick around here. A Sentry Ward getting placed down. They're going to try and scout out and see if maybe they can get a good opening off on Huron Mark or PoE player, but it's just going to be off on Pumpkin instead. But once again, he gets that heal off and he's able to heal back up to full very quickly. And we still do not see a kill to start things off here, but PoE player is going to be coming in from below. He's going to pass over that Sentry Ward. But they don't have anyone nearby to be able to scout him out by doing so. Phonix moving forward, does have that Ravage ready, 2,000 gold. Not enough for his Blink Dagger just yet, but he's very close. Speaking of Blink Daggers, we just have Captain pick one up for the Sven, but it's not going to be on this hero just yet, and it might not be here in time for the fight. As Pumpkin's found himself in the middle of 8 equals D, and he's probably going to be the first casualty here, as the Ravage is going to secure the kill there, but he goes down at the same time, so it's a 1-for-1. The tide for the Enchantress, as Captain has had that Blink Dagger delivered, as he's going to charge forward, try to find a kill there, but his team's kind of abandoning him as they've turned around, and Captain dropping down to 50 HP, and the last auto attack is there from PoE player. As the Sven goes down, as his team completely abandoned him, they turned around, I think, to go after Huron Mark, who was kind of slithering around like the sneaky little snake that Bounty Hunter is in the trees back here. They all turn around, and Sven just kind of charged uphill onto that high ground, and there was 3 heroes from Lonely Boy just sitting there waiting for him. But with that Sven dead and waiting to respawn for another 20 seconds, Lonely Boys will get a tier 2 tower here.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
As they've managed to actually keep pace. They're actually equal in terms of towers with 8 equals D, despite the fact that 8 equals D does have kind of an early game push-oriented lineup. They do have some skilling in their lineup, don't get me wrong. They aren't on a timer, they don't have to push, but Chen typically allows you to get towers early on in the game and get a little bit of an advantage through tower gold. But we haven't seen that as Lonely Boys have managed to keep pace, and part of that is the fact that Clinks is really good at dealing damage to towers early on, and they have had a good amount of control over the map as well. A little bit more team fight has just been picked up by Lonely Boys, as now they've picked up their mech. It's going to be flying in on the courier now to deliver to here on Mark. But now we don't have a mech advantage for 8 equals D, so that's going to be evened up. Of course, they still do have, I want to say, a heal advantage, despite the fact that Lonely Boys does have an Enchantress as well. But they've got the Hand of God from Chen, which that global heal is going to be very, very valuable for them in a team fight. But in terms of the state of the game right now and where we stand, as Pumpkin gonna chase, but he's gonna chase right into the loving arms of the Sven. So he's gonna get his heal off, and the Sven just attacks so damn slow. And now he's gonna have to back away because Steel Borko just picked up his boots of travel, and he's gonna TP on in as the attacks come in on the Sven. The Yule Scepter gonna toss him up in the air. And this is for sure a dead Sven, as Pumpkin's going to get the kill there. As 15-6 now, the lead for Lonely Boys. And as I say that, it's 16-6, because Pee Wee Player and Adrian have found a kill on to Sabby. Shout out to Frempo in the chat, asking where have I been. Took a little bit of a break from Dota, and then I didn't really have too much to cast. I wanted to cast SCS last week, but I wasn't feeling too great, and to be honest, not really feeling too great tonight either. But really felt like I need to get some games casted tonight, so we're just casting the 1 grand finals here for SCS. But it's definitely fun and enjoyable to be back casting. Glad you guys are stopping by and checking it out. But I promise I will be casting more moving forward here. Definitely going to aim to cast at least SCS every week. So expect me to be live every Sunday night. But let's get back to the game. Let's get back to looking at what the state of the game is. I was getting into talking about that, and then they rudely interrupted me with a couple kills, and looks like they're going to do it again as they pick off the Chen there. But it's almost a 14,000 gold lead for Lonely Boys. They are very much in control of this game. And we saw 8 equals D come back from this in the semifinals, this kind of deficit around the 25-minute mark, but it's getting more and more difficult for them as this game goes forward. XP around the same, 12,000 XP lead for Lonely Boys. They're in a very good position in this game. Also, the top 3 net worth are all on their side, with Clinks leading the way, followed by the Invoker and then the Enchantress. Sunstrike gonna come in. This is probably the one of, I think, 2 Sunstrikes that have actually missed this game. Every other one's been on the mark and has led to a kill. But that one, just it was a scouting one. It wasn't really, well, I guess not completely a scouting one because they had vision, but it was more of a harassing one. It wasn't really trying to set up a kill. Let's quickly bounce around and see who's got what. We already saw the Sven pick up his Blink Dagger, but he's got a Helm of the Dominator, Treads, and a Blades of Attack, so either crit or armlet. I'm guessing it's going to be crit for Captain. The Sad Clown just has Treads and your typical supporting items. Sabby has Aghanim Scepter and Treads on the Queen of Pain. Meanwhile, the Chen gets picked off by the Clinks there. He just has his mech. Phonix has picked up his Blink Dagger and his Arcanes, sitting on another 500 gold. As Captain, going to try to TP away, and he will be successful in doing so. We'll move on to talk about the heroes on Lonely Boys. As we've got Pumpkin sitting with the Dragon Lance, Point Boosters, also picked up the Drums and the Treads, so he's quite wealthy there on the Enchantress. Steel Borko's got even more gold to his name, that Midas kind of helping out with that, but he's got his Midas, Drums, Boots of Travel, Point Booster, which we expect to build into an Aghanim, same with the Enchantress, Yule Scepter, and then a Null Talisman. As for our top net worth in the game, it's going to be Pee Wee Player. He's got his Desolator, which he picked up early, as well as his Treads and his Soul Ring, but he's also added on a Diffusal Blade as well. Sunstrike actually just barely going to miss there, and that's going to allow Phonix to get his Ravage off And then the Chen heal will heal him back up, and now it's actually Lonely Boyz that's in trouble here, as both Huron Mark and Pee Wee Player have dropped low. Huron Mark is going to be able to get away alive there, but Pee Wee Player died. It's a godlike streak going to the Tidehunter, 969 gold. But maybe we're not done yet, as the Sao clan getting down very, very low, but he will get the stun off, and it's Huron Mark that's going to go down. Disaster of a team fight for Lonely Boyz, as they lose only 2 heroes, but that's a lot of gold going the way of 8 = D, and we'll quickly show the fight recap, and look at that. 3,800 gold swing. The Venge dies on the end of it, but who cares about that? The question is whether or not the Invoker is going to be able to get out of there safely. So he's going to get stunned up by the Sven. Sabby, Oddno, going to try to chase him down, as this Invoker is very, very quickly, but very, very quick, but I don't know if he's going to be quick enough. As I say that, he may be. He's got Ghost Walk available to him, as the Dust of Appearance will now just barely wear off. 200 HP, and Sven going to jump forward, but not going to be able to get a stun off because he didn't have enough mana. But a great team fight there for 8 = D, as they find themselves coming back in the game. Almost 4,000 gold going their way there. And that was a huge streak that this Clinks gave up. That was a lot of gold. Almost 1,000 gold going to that Tidehunter. And look at it. He just bought his Blink Dagger. He's up to 1,700 gold. So expect another big item coming out from that Tidehunter. But now Lonely Boy's going to go for Roche here, and we'll quickly go over the last remaining heroes. The 2 supports from Lonely Boy, see what items they have. So we got Arcanes and a mech. Expect that to be built into GG boots for Huron Mark. So he's almost at the gold total for that. Not sure if he's actually going to upgrade that immediately or if he's going to wait. Adrian, he's picked up his Aether Lens, just has his brown boots and typical supporting items. But he's up to another 2,000 gold, so he's probably going to pick up his Blink Dagger soon. As that Roche goes down, it's going to be an Aegis for the Clinks. And we are also going to have the Invoker now just finishing his Aghanim Scepter as well. So a lot of big items coming out here for Lonely Boyz, on top of the fact that they have that Aegis. It's going to be very difficult for 8 = D to kind of go up against them in the next team fight. And look at that. The Bounty Hunter did actually pick up the Guardian Greaves. So even more team fight for them. But it looks like Phonix has picked up a Plate Mail, so he's going to work towards Shiva's Guard, or it could be potentially an AC, but we'll see what he chooses to go for there. I think it's probably going to be a Shiva's. But they're going to go for a 4-man smoke. Captain's the only one not smoked up, so maybe they'll bait him in the mid lane. And Huron Mark's going to be run around in Viz, trying to scout them out, and just barely going to miss, so it's not going to pop the Invis. Track going to go out onto Sven. The pings are coming out. They're going to run right into Huron Mark, and they're going to open up on him, and this is one dead Bounty Hunter. As maybe not. Guardian Greaves going to keep him alive for a bit. Is he going to get out of here? No way. No way. Okay, Sonic Wave's going to finish him off. Savvy gets the kill there. But now everyone's committed into this team fight. Meatball going to come in. Sven's going to go down. Ravage comes out quite late, but does stun up a bunch of heroes, as eventually that Tidehunter goes down, and there's that stolen Ravage from the Rubik. We'll be stunning up a bunch of heroes from 8 = D. That's going to lead to Sabby's death, and Oddno probably not going to be able to get onto here alive either, as he's going to be the 4th hero to fall for 8 = D. The only one getting out of there was the Sad Clown, as 4 heroes get cleaned up very, very quickly by Lonely Boyz. And there's exactly what I spoke about towards the end of the draft. That Rubik pickup, really a strong counter towards that Tidehunter, being able to steal that Ravage reliably if you position yourself well in a team fight, and getting that Blink Dagger also with the Aether Lens as well. But getting that Blink Dagger really allows you to position yourself in the exactly proper position to be able to steal that Ravage. And yeah, it's one of the risks that you take, picking up a Tidehunter when the other team still has the option to pick up a Rubik. That Ravage can always go the opposite way. Makes it difficult for the Tidehunter to get a good Ravage off. But Pee Wee Player is going to get swapped back and going to get stunned up. He's going to drop down to very, very low HP. But it looks like he'll be able to reposition himself in the fight, as he will go down, but Aegis is going to bring him back up. We're going to have Sonic Wave coming up from Sabby. Doesn't actually do much damage to anyone. But now Pee Wee Player has come back alive, pops the BKB, once again dropping down pretty low, below 300 HP. Pumpkin is going to be able to not get out of there, as he's going to go down. He's going to drop the gem on the ground. That's going to change hands, as Chen's going to pick that up. Meanwhile, Huron Mark doing a little bit of harassing, and more tracks in the bottom lane, as they're going to try and chase him down. But they don't have vision yet because that Chen is still back in the base with the gem. But now Huron Mark hiding in the trees here. Needs to be a little bit careful of Oddnote potentially moving out here. As we did have the Invoker TP away there. Now he's even going to upgrade his Boots of Travels as well. So he'll be able to TP into allied heroes. But it was an armlet picked up by Captain, so he didn't go after the Blink. He went after the armlet. I think armlet's probably one of those underrated items and not picked up as much as it could be. It's one of those items that, when used properly, it is definitely worth a lot more than its gold. But if you actually miss it, miss the timing on any of your kind of armlet toggles or anything like that, it can actually go against you and not really help out as much as it potentially could. But I definitely think it's one of those kind of underrated items, so I'm glad to see it getting picked up here. But I have a feeling that either Crit, he might actually go after an AC as his next item, but BKB is also a potential as well. We'll have to see which one Captain chooses to go for.
That's exact.
But it's going to have to be something maybe even risky to get themselves back in this game, because we'll take another look at our gold graph, and it is now past over 25k gold, and it's actually nearing 30,000 gold. In fact, it's already basically there if you actually look at the total net worths. And oh my, that is a very, very big deficit for 8 equals D. And look at the Steel Borko TPing on into PoE player. Well, actually miss with the tornado. Looks like they didn't need it anyways. This Captain going to get bursted down very, very quickly. It's now 25-10, this lead for Lonely Boyz, as they are way out in front in this game. And 8 equals D, I don't know if they're going to have enough to get themselves back into this game. If they're just getting picked off all over the place. 3-shot from PoE player, finishing off that Chen. Steel Borko actually gets the kill with the Sunstrike. A little bit of a kill steal there from the Invoker.
Top tower is under attack.
But now, Lonely Boyz going to look to pressure this tier 3 tower, and 8 equals D with 2 heroes dead here, and one of them being their safe lane farming Sven. They're hard carry. They don't really have any way to defend here. Tier 3 goes down, but Lonely Boyz playing it safe. Now they'll come and regroup and go for this tier set of racks. As Phonics going to blink for it, getting a good Ravage off. It has not been stolen by the Rubik, as Adrian was a little bit too far back there. But that's a lot of big cooldowns that have gone out from 8 equals D, and they're not really able to slow or even stop or even slow this push from Lonely Boyz that they've taken both racks in the top lane. And now Captain going to jump on in. He's going to get a stun off, but now he's just in full defensive mode as he's going to try to run away as he goes down. No buyback available for him. Phonics going to go down. So is the Venge. Both of them do have buyback. Chen goes down immediately as well, and there's pretty much no way that they're going to be able to hold here. The only deaths coming out from Lonely Boyz are the Clinks and the Invoker. Invoker buys back immediately. Clinks does have buyback available as well, but the GGs have already been called, and we're going to have our winner of SCS, Lonely Boyz, taking this game in pretty dominating fashion. 30 minutes, but 31-12 the hero kills, over 30,000 gold lead. I don't know what it was at the end there, but it was quite significant. And honestly, I always try to think about who would be an MVP in this kind of game, and I don't know. I felt like everyone on Lonely Boyz played just good Dota. Huron Mark early on, lots of rotations, really put a lot of pressure on 8 equals D and forced them to kind of move around and respond to him all over the map. PoE player was pretty silent early on in the game, just kind of sitting up there farming away. But of course, once he had his items, he came out, and he came out in a big way, getting some good kills early on, but then just kind of kept the ball rolling and stayed as that real strong kind of carry, as you expect to have carrying your team later on in the game. Steel Borko, his Sunstrikes from Invoker were pretty much on point all game long, led to so many kills for his team. He's a part of 24 kills, highest participation on his team, so he played phenomenally. He did great in the mid lane as well up against the Queen of Pain. Pumpkin, he was left alone in the bottom lane for a little bit of time. We were looking at what Huron Mark was doing as he was pulling the supports all over the place, and somehow, we didn't even see it on the camera, Pumpkin managed to get a solo kill there onto Captain. And then Adrian, pretty quiet early on in the game, just kind of playing that kind of babysitting role for the for the Clinks. But when it came came to one of those big team fights. He had his blink dagger. He blinked in. He stole Ravage. Completely turned that fight around and just further allowed his team to win the game. So can I really pick an MVP out of all 5 of those? I don't think so. I think all of them played actually incredible Dota. So hats off to the Lonely Boys as they take SCS tonight. And guys, I know it had been a while since I cast, but it was a lot of fun casting this game. Actually, I wish I had some more games to cast tonight, but I don't. So I guess I'll see you again next week, probably next Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cast anything before then, but definitely expect me to be casting more coming up, as I miss it. I really miss it, and it was a hell of a lot of fun tonight. So once again, guys, thanks so much for joining me. But that's going to be it for me tonight, and yeah, I guess I'll sign off here. Once again, make sure you follow me on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. I use all those, maybe not as much as I should, but I try to use them as much as I can. So follow me on all those channels, and we'll see you again next Sunday for some more SCS.